We are recording. Dun, 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 dun. Right. So the point of this call is to be like a pretend dress rehearsal because we may not have time to do an actual dress rehearsal in the space. People are coming in at different times. We get access to the room, I think around 5-ish, and the doors open at 6:30. The event starts at 7. So I thought that we could do these Zoom get to know yous, ask whatever questions you have kind of things as if we were doing a dress rehearsal. As I said in the last call, in case I don't know why anybody would ever watch a recorded call, but maybe you were procrastinating laundry or something. There's a lot of stuff that Patrick nor I actually know until we show up to the space. So you are welcome to watch or ask any question you want to, but the answer is likely to be no, I don't know. I'll tell you on Friday. Why don't we just assume no? We'll see on Friday, or how about no? That's likely to be the answers, but you'll come up with a different question. So what I thought we would do is just run a little bit of what's going to be in the room that we know for sure, and then we'll just go in order of run of show based on who is here. And you get to introduce yourself and then whatever questions you have, and then that might spawn other questions from other folks. And then I'll send another email out with this recording and kind of a review of the questions and answers that y'all asked. The coolest new thing that I didn't know yesterday, but now is true, is it is going to be recorded. Chuck Gallagher is going to record it. And he said he's going to do a 3 to 4 camera record.
That's nice.
So I guess I can't wear a t-shirt and pair of jeans because what if the footage actually turns out good? Now I got to repack, but it's kind of exciting, I guess. So that's kind of good news. Then so I will be in the room around 5-ish. Nobody is expected to be there that early. In my experience, managing cats in a box, most of y'all don't care about this at all until about 45 minutes in advance. And then you're going to show up and you're going to be like, what? It's blue. When ask whatever questions you need to. So I will be there to field whatever questions you have. The answers at 5 o'clock will also be no, I don't know, pretend we don't have it, who knows, but I'll be there. The doors officially open at 6:30-ish. Patrick and I, in theory, will get started at 7. The way that the run of show works is I've built in some padding time for Patrick and I to Yutzerfutz because we'll probably start late.
What was that word?
Yutzerfutz.
Got to write that down.
It's got a bunch of hyphens in it. Yutzerfutzer.
It's my new word.
Yutzerfutz. So we'll Yutzerfutz around 7-ish to get started. In an ideal world, every one of y'all is going to keep to time. But again, I have met feral beasts. So if you start late, I'm going to ask you to try to end on time. Y'all aren't going to do that, but we're going to try real hard to keep to it. We have to be out of the room by 9:30 or Candace will kill us. So I've mapped everything out, and there's a minute in between each person. So Patrick and I, one of us will introduce you and the other person will outroduce you. So whoever handed you the microphone, you say, and here's whoever isn't that person, and you give them the microphone back. And there's a minute of padding in between each person for outro, intro. So if you go over, that's less outro, intro time for the next person. Does that make sense? Then about every 5 people is a chance for Patrick and I to kind of banter. We have a couple of things planned, etc. And we have some padding at the end because people will talk and mingle schmingle and then hopefully get out of the room by 9:30. We have a projector and a screen, which will have the PowerPoint. I sent everybody the little PowerPoint slides yesterday. A wireless presenter remote. I'm bringing mine too, so I'll be running the PowerPoint. Computer hookup, HDMI connection and audio. A sound system and a mixer. If you're using an MP3, all of you have already been in touch with Judson. He's in charge of the sound stuff. We'll have 2 wireless handhelds and 1 lav mic. And then there is also supposedly a lectern on the stage if you need like a prop or something. Rick and Patrick, you two have already talked about guitars and y'all just going to make that work. whatever that ends up being, because none of us know what that's going to look like. And that is what I know. So we can just go in order of run a show and see if you have any thoughts or comments. I get to be bad cop, which means I will turn it over to Patrick Henry, who is playing the role of good cop. And we're starting the show. So why don't you start, Patrick? You want to introduce yourself and say what you are, ask questions?
Yes. Well, thank y'all for doing this. This is going to be a lot of fun. And I appreciate everybody taking it so seriously. And I appreciate Jess jumping in and producing it, because sometimes I don't take it seriously until 45 minutes before. And so my question to Jess is, has everybody submitted introductions?
Yes, and I have printed them on cardstock and have phonetic spelling and order and all that stuff.
Wow, you're really raising the bar here.
I know. Okay. I'm not in charge of the foundation event, just this
For
one.
someone who doesn't drink, you are raising the bar. Okay, so that's all I've got. Thank you. I know this is going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be much talked about. Make sure you invite people. Make sure people know about it.
On that note, Stefan, who is from France, he did a social media post thing yesterday. So I asked him to email everybody what he used as the background, because I don't know how to make that stuff. So supposedly that will be coming out shortly. And then on the last call, they had the idea of like Thursday or Friday doing a social media push. I barely know how to log into social media, but that is something that they said they wanted to do.
Yeah, last year was packed, but 5 minutes till 7 when it started, the room was empty. And I'm like, oh my God. And then all of a sudden, it's just like somebody threw food in there and people just started rushing in. So it was a lot of fun.
Coolio. Great. Well, okay, let's go down the list. Drew is traveling with his family. He is going to open the show. I am asking for folks to try to stay for as much of the show as possible. You can be in the back with your friends and stuff after you've gone or whatever. I'm saying this because Drew's opening, because he's going to put his daughter down, and then when she falls asleep, he'll come back. And Patrick, he said he'll help us with the flags for timing as well. So Drew starts. So then Jane, you're here. So why don't you introduce yourself, tell them what you're doing, and see if you have any questions, etc. How can we help you? Hi, Jane.
Hey, hello. Nice to meet everybody. I know most of y'all, so this is gonna be fun. So I'm just doing a parody. A guy named Jeff Slutsky wrote NSA Gets Greased, and it was back in the, Patrick, you remember, I think it was late 90s. Yep. And that right. And Jeff's very funny guy. He's not an NSA member anymore, and I'll tell you why. He got mad because the CSP council said he had to pay dues, and so he sold his medallion on eBay.
I bought it.
Very funny. Do what?
Really saved me a step.
So I will get in touch with him and say, hey, Jeff, I need a parody, and he's brilliant. Anyway, we did NSA Gets Greased at a foundation event, and it was pretty funny. So I'm singing the iconic Olivia Newton-John song, Hopelessly Devoted to You, sung from the heart of a speaker who cannot get booked. And the title is Hopelessly Devalued for You.
Excellent.
It's cute. It's cute.
Yeah, we needed some more clarification from NSA Gets Greased. People's minds are going in much different directions. It was a Grease parody.
Yes, Grease. Parody from the iconic film Grease. And so, like the story, Look at Me, I'm Sandra Dee. He wrote it, Look at Me, a CSP. It's the whole thing was hilarious. I'll have to go back and see all the titles that he redid, but it went over really well. Of course, it was never repeated. So we flew to Nashville and rehearsed it. It was a lot of work. Steve Rizzo, he's a comedian. Steve was the main character, and it was fun. So I'm just going to lift that song and perform it.
Perfecto. And to confirm, Judson does have your MP3s. That's all set up. And you have, we talked about this yesterday, but I just want to make sure everybody hears it. So you have time to kind of set it up. It's about 3 minutes long, and you have time to kind of close it down. So
yes.
Perfect. So then you'll segue to whoever doesn't introduce you, then that person will introduce you and introduce Dave Caperton. Thank you very much for being here. Do you want to introduce yourself or ask any questions?
Dave Caperton. Hey, everyone. So I, as far as what I'm going to be doing, I'm not doing any songs or doing just some observational stuff that is kind of the things that I don't get to do when I'm doing my regular speaking. So I'm looking forward to it. I guess I'm just trying to get a sense of what the room looks like, the setup. I don't know, is there a stage?
Yeah. So we technically don't know until we get there. But
okay.
We have I got a little
You're
bit
serious about that. I don't know.
Oh, I'm totally serious, but I got a little bit more information yesterday, but not enough that's going to make you happy. But I'll let everybody know on Friday what the room looks like at 5 o'clock. Because it might not even be set up beforehand, but we probably will have a riser.
Okay.
There's not like a green room. I don't know if there will be drape and pipe or not. There is a PowerPoint screen probably off to the side. We have 2 handhelds and 1 lav mic.
Right.
That is pretty much all I currently know. We did find out yesterday that it should be set up for 250 people, which is a little bit bigger than I had originally somehow surmised.
That's
so
awesome.
That's what we know. Patrick, you were going to say something. Do you know something I don't know? I mean,
I'm assuming this is also one of the same size room that the foundation event's going to be in. So I think these are the breakout rooms. I'm not sure how many tracks they're doing, but they're bigger breakout rooms. And so I'm picturing kind of like what it was last year. Don't you think that room, we had about 300 people in there? Because people will be standing up in the back, hopefully, and sitting down and having a big time.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a perfect size room.
Yeah. And we did, this came up in the other call. Judson mentioned, like, for those of you who haven't done anything in front of an NSA audience, this is the most supportive. Unless you are speaking to a box of puppies, you're never going to have an audience that's more supportive than an NSA audience. And because it's the night before everything gets started, people are going to be coming in and out at different times, which may be distracting, and speakers don't know how to shut the hell up. So they're going to be like in the middle of the audience. And you were just running with it, right? So this is none of us getting paid. We're just having a good time. So it'll be kind of loud, but very supportive is my guess. We talked a little bit about this again on that call. So I'm just going to throw this out there. Y'all can be anywhere you want to be in the room. We're not like lining up on the front row because I think that would be an energy suck anyway. I probably will put 2 chairs off to a side of wherever we're calling the stage area. This is from I grew up with professional powerlifters. So then all you need to know is 2 people ahead of you. So who's on deck and who's in the wing will be sitting in those chairs. And somebody's performing, right? And so then otherwise you can be anywhere you want to in the room. I ask you again to stay for as much of the show as possible. So as long as you know who's 2 people ahead of you, then you know when to sit in those chairs. It is weird, but I'm going to try and like relax and enjoy the show, but I'll go bonkers if the chairs are empty because then somebody's not sitting there. But if y'all just keep that going, then everything's fine. We do have flags. A green flag for start, a yellow flag for a minute left, a red flag for shut up. And then Judson has a soundtrack from Game of Thrones of shame. So he's going to play that if you're going over your time. There was also some conversation about mooing. And then Pat Dwyer asked for like a pin light in case he doesn't notice the flag. So I brought a pin light. That's basically what I know about the shape of the room. Is that helpful, David?
Yeah, that sounds great. That sounds great. The only other question I have is anybody can come, right?
It's free.
Okay. My wife is coming down with me, but she's not attending the conference, but she can still come to Comedy Night.
Absolutely.
Perfect. All right.
As is mine. Then my kids.
Yeah. all good. Okay, so then Kay's not on this call, so Kay would be next. Then Stefan from France, who I just sent a message to remind to send out the little social media icon. He would be next. Then that's 5. So then Patrick and I will do a little skit that we have written. Then after that little skit, Pat Dwyer, who's not here, he's going to do improv with some volunteers from the audience. Then Teresa Rhodes.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just want to say he's a member of Second City. So Jess and I were both impressed with how many of you guys are actually real comedians.
Yeah. The lineup is kind of intense. And I was going through, I was like, oh shit. Okay, great. So Pat's going to do audience stuff. And in case you're noticing, the reason why he has 8 minutes is because anytime you play with an audience member, it always goes over. So that's why that's the case. Teresa Rose was on yesterday's call. She's going to do comedy. And then Rick, you're up. You're going to play the guitar. You want to introduce yourself or asking questions or anything?
So I watched the video, so I don't have a lot of questions. I watched the video from yesterday, but hello, everybody. I'm Rick Lozano. I'm thrilled to be a part of this. I have a guitar, so I'm going to be doing a little bit of, parody songs. And Patrick, I've got everything figured out on our end. So between you, me, and Judson, I think we're going to have all the technical aspects of it figured out. But I will be there at 5 o'clock so that we can just plug and play and we will figure it out one way or the other, like we always do. I think the only thing that for me is obviously if I'm playing a guitar, I can't have a handheld mic. So I will need a lavalier and or a mic stand with the wireless on it, but we'll figure that out once we're there. But other than that, I'm looking forward to having a good time with you guys.
Yep, I did put in an additional request for the bendy one for the guitar.
Sure.
And worst case scenario, I will lay on the ground and hold your microphone.
I'll take it.
That is the worst case scenario. I don't know how you do it, Rick, but yep. I can't tell you how many times I've just taken a lav and dropped it to the middle of my chest and it works fine.
Yep. And just so you know, and very quickly, Patrick, I've got a wireless receiver so we can plug it directly into the soundboard so the microphone should be taken care of. So as long as we have a lavalier mic or some sort of like handheld mic on a thing, we'll be fine. But we'll figure it out one way or the other. But the guitar is taken care of.
Oh, fantastic.
Excellent. My main thing is that I am not in charge of sound and I am not in charge of guitars. So if you end up needing something, just tell me what you need me to do, or Judson will tell me. My job is just bad cop.
And y'all have enough on your plate, so I will get there as soon as I can. And between Judson and Patrick and I will have all of it taken care of.
Super dupes. Yep. Okay, great. Okay, so then that's Rick, and then Tara Brown is going to perform, and it's Tara's first NSA. But she's been doing stand-up, like dry bar comedy, real comedy stuff, and she won Jeannie Robertson's last competition. So she's gonna do a regular set. I'm looking forward to that. Then that will be 5 people. So then Patrick and I are gonna go up. And Patrick, this is when you're gonna do whatever. You're taking the lead on this section. So I'm assuming it's like the song or what. I am putty in your hands, sir. Just this once. Right. So then Patrick will finish whatever it is that we're doing. And then Tom Singer, who is gallivanting around Scotland right now, he will go up. Then Sonia, who was on yesterday's call from Germany, she's going to do some 3 different song kind of parody things mixed together. She's already worked with Judson. Judson has his cues. Everything is cool there. She's also the president of the German Speaker Association. She's great. Then after Sonia is June Klein, who is going to be doing some comedy stuff, and it has something to do with Jeannie Robertson. So then we have pictures of Jeannie attending her show last June in the PowerPoint deck, FYI, Patrick. Then Judson's going to perform. Judson on the call yesterday said he's going to be the dirtiest person. So if you're worried about how dirty to get, Judson believes he is going to get the dirtiest, which is the funniest because he's like such a clean cut looking guy. So don't take his crown. And then after Judson is Teresa. You are up.
Awesome. So I plan on doing my regular stand-up routine that is somewhat tailored for our group. I'm excited that there's PowerPoint available. I have never had PowerPoint available while I do comedy. So I'm pondering, maybe because the trainer in me wants to weave that in a little bit. I don't know. But otherwise, I've just got straight stand up, and we'll blow through that in 7 minutes easily.
If you want to, and Teresa, I said this on the last call, originally Teresa was closing the show, and I owe her for that. And then when Richard got added to the show, which is, Richard, you're introducing yourself in just a second, is going to be a great close. So Teresa, that takes some of the closing pressure off of you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, thank Richard. But if you want to add something to the PowerPoint, just stay on Zoom after I stop the recording and everybody else leaves, and we'll figure out what to do. My goal is that today is the last day I'm screwing with this so that I can like do other things.
Well, then forget the PowerPoint. I just saw it and I'm like, that could be intriguing.
Yeah, it's mostly just a picture, your old headshot or a picture you sent in, and name, and that's it, just so that people know who's performing.
We're good then.
And I'm worse with social media than PowerPoint, but I'm pretty terrible with PowerPoint. So do not get excited that this is a fancy deck, because it is not a fancy deck. Great. Right. Well, we can still talk about it afterwards. So then after Teresa, Richard closing out the show. Judson has your MP3s all good to go. Do you want to introduce yourself or ask any questions?
When the moon hits your eyes like a big pizza pie.
That's the morning.
Rosie.
Your speakers. When the world seems to shine like you had too much wine. I'm Richard Fabosi. I want to start off by saying how honored I am that Patrick was kind and generous to refer me to Jess to close the show. So Patrick, thank you again.
We've known each other.
Amore, I'm sorry?
We've known each other a long time.
We sure have. So Amore is the first song that I'm going to be singing. And do we know yet, Jess, who I'll be singing that to? I'll be serenading that to, or we'll know that night?
My guess is that we'll know by the time you're sitting in the chair on the side,
Okay.
Or it'll just be everyone in the room.
And then the second song that I'll be singing, which I'm really excited about because I love to learn new songs, and I had to learn this song, is Celebration. So hopefully I'll have hopefully the entire audience up singing and dancing, and that will be the song that I'll be closing with. So I'm really excited about this. And again, I'm honored to be with all of you folks. 2 years in a row, I was a finalist for Jeannie's comedy competition. So I was supposed to be there last year, but there was a medical emergency in the family and I couldn't show up. So looking forward to it.
I've got a question for you, Richard. And Rick may agree. I hate it when I'm singing a song and all of a sudden the people start trying to get the audience to clap along with me. But it sounds like the celebration, you may want that. Should we encourage people to clap along with celebration?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Otherwise, they might feel a little shut down. And up to this point, in all my years that I've been doing this, I've never kind of come undone or stressed out, whatever. I just go. Jess made a comment. I just go with the flow. That's all. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, good. Okay, we'll make sure it's a big end.
Thank you.
Yeah, one of the questions that I had for you, Richard, too, is that since it's the end, right, is that if you want the people who performed who are still in the space to get up on the stage, I'm using air quotes because I don't know we have a stage, but if you want us to get up there and like that kind of ends, then
I think that, go ahead, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Technically speaking, if we time this right, then it'll be at 9:22 when things are wrapping up, right? Then Patrick and I can literally just say good night, y'all, right? And the music can still be playing and people can be like shuffling out the doors. I have slides when you're done. One, thanks Chuck Gallagher for recording it. And then I have another one that makes fun of Patrick that he doesn't know about. And then I have one that says, get out, it's past my bedtime. So like at some point I'm going to flash through those slides, but the music could still be happening. People can be standing and dancing, whatever. It could be kind of playing off. And then ideally the room is empty at 9:30. That's what we're shooting for.
Okay.
According to the hotel staff, they are cleaning the room at 10 o'clock. So that's the timing on that, if that's helpful. I think that is basically what I know. So are other thoughts, comments, anything that you can think of that would be helpful?
Okay. In light of what you just said, we need to apprise Judson of this, because he had recently suggested to me about fading out Celebration at the 2-minute mark, which I think it's too short. And yet the entire song is 3 minutes and 45 seconds, which I know is too long. So
right, Richard, you and I have talked about this, and Judson and I have talked about this.
Oh, okay.
We're just going to play it by ear.
Right. I didn't know that you had a conversation with him subsequent or after ours. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. So then that, depending on what is happening in the room, then the comics can migrate towards the endish, right? Which means like Patrick and I will probably get up on stage. So then that's your cue for that. Like we're going to be wrapping up soon. Then the comics can come up. We can still do like, together.
I think that's a great idea.
As
Jess.
it fades down, then I probably will be the person who's like saying the goodnight stuff, because Patrick will be the person who introduces you. Right. So then I'll start that off and then do the final slides. And then the last thing I will say is get out. It's past my bedtime.
I'm picturing the conga line, like in the bird cage when they're doing Celebration, walking.
That's why we make good co-hosts, because I'll be
Nathan. I'll be Nathan Lane.
Perfect. I get to be.
Here's the toast.
We are family.
So
that's what it was. It wasn't Celebration. It was We Are Family.
Right. Which Damas used last year when he got into the Hall of Fame. Jane, you asked a question in the chat, and so I want to make sure, Patrick Henry, you see it. So there is a humor group forming. I don't know who's in charge of it. I don't know what's going on with it, but that is forming officially. So I don't know. Patrick, do you know?
Rob Foray, I thought was.
Oh, is it Rob? Okay, great.
I believe so.
David, I thought you were taking over the humor group.
Yeah, I was actually running it pre-COVID, but when we got to COVID that 1 year before COVID, I think it was 2019, and then we were looking at kind of all the shutdown. So I've been trying to get access to what's the next iteration of this thing, and apparently Rob right now is the person in charge. So I defer everything to him, because it's just kind of been a lack of clarity about where the group is going. So that's I talked to the folks that I could reach at the National, and they said, well, Rob's the one with all the access to the Facebook page and all. So I said, okay, yeah, that's fine. So that's what I know.
Probably, I mean, do they still have official pegs? I mean, I know they're not called pegs, but I mean,
No.
is it there?
Unofficial groups of NSA.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is
Humor.
well, but like Black NSA and
Yeah.
things like that. But these are official groups, right?
They're officially unofficial, because NSA doesn't want to police all of that.
Okay,
Right, because most of the what's happening with the social media, especially with the Facebook page and the postings, created some issues, I guess. So
okay,
Yeah.
well, okay, so just turn the recording off, please, Jess, if you're done.
I am. And I just text messaged Rob.